Now guys, there's no easy way of dressing this up. We laid our tactics out, we tried to finish off the season as best we could, and really the results came in quite underwhelming overall. We still managed to get a few victories, ended up, there was no big shakes or worries around relegation. We always kept a good distance away from there, getting some decent results, losing games that we maybe should have won, other matches being a bit tighter. If we had a wee bit more quality in our ranks, we might have done a little bit better. But this last little kind of furlong of matches is just really further highlighted that I need to lift the level of this entire squad, and there's a couple of different ways of going about it. In the video today, we're going to be talking about all our plans and preparations going into season 3 on MFL off the back of a season 2 kind of cold shower is what it's felt like it's been for us. Because I've actually won more MFL in Season 2 from the agency side of the game, where the players that I own that have went out on loan to other people's clubs have done somewhat well across the ice divisions. So as much as I need to maybe sell a marquee player or to bring another few marquee players into the club, I'm now going to have another raft of players to add into that agency layer of FC Barcelona, where I'll be loaning them out to maybe one of you guys to help you get in your battle against probably the Ice League, the Beginners League more than anything, for the quality of player I've got lying around. But there's a few different parts of our club we've got to get in order. We've got to have it evolving now that we're in the Stone Division and finding ourselves, kind of not necessarily in a rut, but we're not tooled up and ready to go to really attack the top of the division. At any point, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you are brand new to MFL and you haven't started playing yet, there's a link in the description of this video that'll get you all the sign up bonus stuff that's going at the moment in preparation for season 3, and by clicking on that link you'll support me and all the content here at the channel, so I thank you in advance if you do so. Sincerely, if you are going to go and play this game, by clicking on that link it makes a huge difference. So if you do get stuck, if you've got any questions, jump into the comment section and I'll come and sort you out, of course. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into this one, because after having that little click around and showing some of the results and whatever, I've just wanted to get stuck into the squad part of my club. It's been kind of throughout this season, I was quite confident with how we came out of the Stone Division, how we came into the Stone Division from the Ice League. I thought, I'm probably going to be in amongst it, and if I play my cards right with the tactics, I could probably shoot quite high quite quickly, perhaps, because I had, big Hamada Nasser up front. We got a new right back in as well after getting that last rare player pack drop, on top of the guys that had been making a name for us already, like Wagner and Lecoq and Tolentino. So, I think I'd underestimated, the Stone League, but I do think we underperformed, really. I do think this team, as it sits now, could have done a little bit better. But as I was watching these games come through and seeing the scores, the different formations that we played across the different types of matches, obviously this was the whipping boy of the division here, but the quality in the squad is very much centred around a couple of players. And as much as I was hoping and kind of thinking with a nice support cast that we've got around it, it could have went on to really do decent things, could have went on and got promoted. Really, for the most part, like look at this team here against Casapia, one of the bottom teams in the division. No Hamada Nasser, no Tolentino, no Wagner, and obviously the goalkeeper's a difference, right? But I didn't even score, with some of these other players that I would think should, the left back is certainly around first choice. Both the wingers have looked handy whenever I'm watching these matches, and Justin Grant was on his way out, but this guy proved his worth. He proved he could be in amongst his squad somewhat, but I think I definitely need to start moving those guys onto the bench, the way things are going at the moment. And I've got a bit of a dilemma, because I do think, all things being equal, Hamada Nasser is our most valuable asset by a long distance. He's our talisman, he's our record goal scorer probably at the club, and he's a young player. He's only 24, which is pretty decent. Already an 84 rated Egyptian player, 5'9". Great statistics. I'm loving these radars when I'm comparing my players now. I just like that as a nice visual. Obviously seeing the actual core statistics is nice as well. But yeah, by far and away the best player we've got, the most valuable player we've got. And it's about if we... there's two things, right? Because Hamada Nasser is rated 84, number one, right? So I'm thinking, do I maybe try and get Hamada Nasser loaned out there? Because if he was to... Let's go and look at the marketplace, look at strikers. Hamada Nasser has got 91 pace, so can we search for that? There's not that many players that have his ratings that are available. And when I look at the different rarities of card or player on MFL, they change in scarcity at 85, you know. So here's a Graham Willock here, and he's got like a tiny bit better stats than my boy. I think he's like a tiny bit quicker. There's like one on everything essentially. And I dare say it might sell for a few more if that's, you know, because look at the price difference there for that one. Now, who knows what they actually sell at, of course, in terms of list price versus market value. So we do need a little bit of further assistance on, like, perhaps how to value some stuff on the market. Now, I put a tweet out not too long ago asking the MFL community, like, what was the best, like, third-party websites, extra websites you can go to for extra info on anything that's available, really, for these players. And the first one I found was MFL Assistant, which is a lovely looking website. And, you know, I've not went into the deep delves of this, to be honest with you, but I've enjoyed having a little click around and having a look at these little player graphs, because I can see here 84 rated strikers aged 24 are kind of hovering around this kind of price range at the moment, depending on, I suppose, some of their individual statistics, like obviously how good it is actually shooting, pace, etc. If I click on the search bar, I can just find any card I want to have a look at. And then if I click on the little blue button we've got here, we get the little player info page as they see it. He's got his little designation there, 24282. You see his statistics: matches played 32, goals 44, 4 assists. Guy's an absolute hero. Every 66 minutes he's getting a goal. Every 61 minutes he's getting an assist or so. Absolute hero for the club. We love to see him. And then I guess this is some hidden underlying data of how they perform in different positions. And it gives you some nice suggested contract info. So I'm looking at the one where it's potentially going to pay off the most. And it looks like in this bronze division, people would be in the silver, should be maybe gold. Yeah, gold looks like the best one there, really, doesn't it? That kind of range there is where he's maybe the most effective as a player right now. So, you know, I'm in two minds whether to either loan him out to someone like in a gold team, for example, and then can we get Hamad Nasser to become an 85 rated player, and then I'll try and sell him at the end of season 3, or do I try and just sell Hamad Nasser now and then turn him around and get something decent in the market? And to be honest with you, I have found it hard to really nail in like what formation and strategy I really want to double down with. Now, I think you do need to think about building the entire squad to really manage as many of the different tactics as you possibly can. But you definitely need, I think, like, you know, for your club's philosophy, your identity, kind of making sure you're always, you know, get tactics that work consistently, you can tweak them to swap, to deal with metas that kind of come and go throughout the game. I just think that's a kind of a fun and kind of smart thing to do. And some guys like, yeah, I think, oh, I could add this guy in, he would make a big difference to my team potentially. But then I think, what formation am I actually going to play? Because it does feel very sensitive to the actual formation picks as well. Like I've mentioned before, throughout season 2 and season 1, that the games where you've got everyone in the right position, it just feels like all the passing's a little bit slicker, the mistakes are fewer, and generally, like, if you're going to have a good game, you'll give as good a game as you'll get, kind of thing. Just look at our last 7-day progression. Kaiser's moving up, that's lovely to see. Casas, a little bit of improvement. Let's look at all time. Has Nasser done any improvement? Look at that Quintana, by the way. What a hero he is. He's popped up 7 points. So when I got him originally, he was a 60 rated centre back, and now he's 67. He's pushing the first team. Wee Quintana. And I love guys that have got Quinn in their name somewhere, like Quintana, Quintero. You know, I'm definitely up for getting some more of them into the club if they're appropriately rated, of course, going forward. And some of them, you know, like when I see Muller made some progression, some of these other guys, I'm like, yeah, they can still come on the journey. Justin Grant definitely showed he could carry a bit this year. Christoph Well, I'm a big fan of, is just a solid guy, but we've been missing that kind of link, I think, sometimes. And yeah, nice to see progression all over the shop, which is nice. But where's Hamada? Yeah, he's not improved on anything. I think he's playing a little bit beneath himself, you know. So as much as he's rip roaring, free firing, probably is still kind of papering over some of the cracks because we don't really have that great quality. If we look at the overall ratings, like, we've got 4 cards in the blue here, and then a lot of the players I'm against, like, their whole squads beginning with a 7. Maybe their defence are still 69, 68 rated players, kind of like me, but midfield, wings, forwards, all covered. Whereas I've got 2 strikers that are blue. Playing 2 strikers together is kind of hard, especially with the way I've kind of built some of these other players in particular. And weighing up what to do with Nasser is kind of twofold. So what I'm going to do initially, and that's why I wanted to record this video as soon as possible and just get stuck straight into it like we do, is I'm going to list Hamada Nasser for sale right now. Now, based on the MFL assistant, we're looking at an average of, this is what it anticipates. I'm a little bit optimistic that Hamada could maybe fetch a couple of quid above average because he is Hamada Nasser. He's just the man. 91 shooting, 80 dribbling. I think he's a hero, of course. And people are always going to lowball you. There is always going to be market fees as well. So I'm going to try and 5, 6, 7 feels good. Now, actually, part of the thing I've got a mad fear about is that I'm nervous that someone just snap buys this basically, and it turns out I should have listed it for a bit higher. But I also don't want to list it too high and people think I'm being cheeky or I'm being at it or something. So I feel like I'm in this kind of no man's land position. I went to go back to that tweet I put out asking for third party sites because there was another one and it's MFL Manager. But when you click through on MFL Manager, it basically ends up just taking you back to look for this stuff at MFL Assistant and to the player page here that we come to, mflplayer.info. So it all kind of links into itself. So it is kind of just the one third party site as far as I can tell. Because for how good he's doing, when I look at his observations, his development has been held back by the current level of opposition. And his training is at a decent level, but his teammates aren't pushing him enough to maximise his potential. So that makes me want to kind of hang on to Hamada as well. I would be gutted to see him go and... Not I'd be gutted to see him go and prosper, but I would feel like we'd missed out maybe. So I kind of want to list him for sale, and if it goes for something crazy, then I'm comfortable with it, number one. And number two, if it doesn't go for anything crazy, then people reach out to me and say, hey, this is what you should probably be looking at. And there might be some, let's see how it shakes out. I'm going to stick with the 5, 6, 7. I'll be happy enough if someone was to buy that. And if it doesn't, or let's see how it goes, right? I'm happy for this to be kind of plan A.1, but kind of plan 8.2 is we get Hamada Nasser loaned out. Now, if we get Hamada Nasser loaned out, that means I'll probably be exercising the loan market to facilitate the evolution of FC Barcelona into Season 3. But if we do sell him on the market for cash, then we're going to be going into the market directly to cherry pick out some players. And I think for all intents and purposes, this is kind of the strongest core. I quite like this tactic, and I think now with the introduction of individual player tactics, I should be able to refine this a little bit better. But where I've really suffered in the Stone division versus the Ice is no Pafe Diaco this season, or no real heir to his throwing. Some of these guys have been fine, and when they go out on loan perhaps to a few of you guys, and I think that's something I do want to do with a few of them, is put them out, because kind of need to just move on and then force myself into getting more players into the squad in some regard, rather than just thinking, oh yeah, maybe Muller off the bench once in a while, or secondary kind of action might not be too bad. But a lot of the guys that just I need to be putting, need to be playing Ice Division essentially, just aren't with me here at Stone. I just want to get them definitely a new club as soon as possible, and there's a few of them I'm just going to force the issue with here. Maybe hang on to Fletcher because he's just about useful still. But yeah, these guys need to get new clubs for next season. All these free agents are still available. That's good to see. And yeah, some of the younger players we've got at the club, we're definitely interested. I might even just throw him into. I might just take a few of these 18-year-olds and put them into the old development centre. Just put them away on ice. Get them drill sergeant effort, try and push that potential, try and drag that potential out of them. But yeah, the boy Stefan, 69, he's maybe still on the bubble to kind of half stay in the picture at the moment, because I don't know if I'll be able to replace my entire squad, of course, but there will be some players that after I make a few more moves, I'll probably be able to try and itemise and let go. But Martinek as well. Some of these guys have been good servants to FC Barcelona, but for next season they will definitely need to be applying their trade elsewhere. And on top of the other guys we've had that have went out and done as well, like I mentioned, you can look at my balance now, we're just under 11,000 MFL, and if we look at the history on it, you'll see I got actually quite a nice wee payout of this for the Stone League payout was okay, of course, and I think we got one for a cup finish or something, maybe back here somewhere, yeah, Rivals Cup. From when that happened. But then end of the season, all of these players just started bringing in wee bits of MFL, which was lovely. Brandt, Logar, Van Dam, Pape, you can see them all here. They've all just went and scooped me a little bit of MFL each across the board, which is lovely. I'm not too sure individually how many of them participated, but I've already had somebody's already reached out to Ball, and he's already signed for another club in that league. So I think he's going to become a bit of a serial winner in the Ice Division, it seems, because he scooped up a nice wee chunk of MFL for Remo Rovers, and I think that Ball has maybe been ID'd. He's been scouted for the new club. Or Remo Rovers is maybe the club he's at now, but I think maybe finish the season somewhere else. So yeah, that's actually quite a little fun part of this, and I'll be looking forward to see who gets me some MFL next season on top of this little list of fun guys as well. And hopefully some of these guys start to develop, because I don't mind hanging on to them and see them do a little bit of farming for me, as it were. But I want this team to have a bit of identity, you know, like we're producing our own players, we're bringing through our own guys that we've packed and we've unlocked, thanks to you guys that support the channel, obviously, by clicking on the old referral links and that good stuff. I certainly wouldn't mind getting a pack or two of a player to maybe bolster the ranks. I'm not against that, certainly. Going into the market is quite tricky sometimes, because it's all about what's available when you're looking, for the most part, unless you want to go to that next level of scouting where you're actually digging out prospects that are not available. Like, I get reached out for a few of my players quite regularly, and I'm always like, wow, people have went really to the ends of the game to find specific players to bring into their club, which is great, I suppose. Look at this Maurice Canavan. Did he play for Barcelona? No, he plays for Basel against Magos de Madrid. That's what it was. He was quite the player, by the way. How's Maurice got on? His progression started off quite nicely. 91 and 92 under Basel. 22-year-old Irish player. He's a good player, isn't he? Top. Would benefit from facing stronger opposition in matches. I think he's in the top division, so I think that's a bit unfortunate for him, isn't it? Interesting little... I thought I did that already. We've had to cancel his contract. Poor Hamada. It's just business, pal, nothing personal. Hopefully we'll keep you. We don't want to sell you, but if an offer comes in that we can't knock back, then Hamada, it was nice to know you, and all the best going forward, and we will try and move on. So I'm just going to sit tight then out and see what offers come in, and then we'll pick up with this when we get some movement on Hamada.